today I'm taking 3 common tunes from Dandy's world and turning them into main twisteds. Many have shared their visions for redesigns. I've seen ones of Poppy, Boxton, and a couple others, but I had not seen any for the Circus trio. So today's focus is on Louis, Yata, and Blot. Each redesign will follow some base rules, larger size, severe mutations, unique sounds and mechanics, and designs that amplify who they are. Starting off with Louis. Now, with his current design, the floating balloon head immediately tells you exactly what he is. The exposed string is a great detail, and the subtle way his head bobs when he moves give him this weightless feeling. His twisted looks bloodthirsty, which is funny because Yata is the character always talking about candy, but somehow Louis is the one looking absolutely starved. What is he hungry for? I always felt like there was some more they could have done for him. Louis as a character has a lot going on. The clown aesthetic, the juggling pins he's always missing, the stage fright, the fact that he's literally a balloon. I began collecting ideas, and my desktop quickly became a disaster. I had references open in a bajillion tabs everywhere and way too many ideas to keep track of, which is why this video is sponsored by Millanote. Millanote's online workspace lets me organize my ideas visually. I open it in my browser and can immediately start gathering media. For each character, I made a separate board where I could collect their designs, concepts, and dialogue. One thing I really liked was the web clipper. Instead of downloading every image or taking endless screenshots, I literally saved references directly from websites by dragging them into my boards. Collecting ideas became much faster and stopped my download folder exploding. There's also a mobile app that syncs with the desktop version. I could be lying down, away from my computer, or just on the toilet, and suddenly I'll get a groundbreaking idea. I can quickly add notes from my phone and they'll be waiting for me when I get back to my PC. Millanote lets you create boards inside boards, a board inception. This let me separate my rough concepts instead of having one endless stack of images staring at me. I can also collaborate with others in real time. Friends can leave comments, feedback, or help brainstorm ideas. So if you're someone who likes mood boards, designing, or just keeping your ideas in one place, definitely check out Millanote using the link in the description. Sign up for free with no time limit and see if it works for your own project. Thanks again to Millanote for sponsoring this video. While looking at balloon animals, I got the idea to stretch and tie out Louis' body parts together. I exaggerated his limbs in large sections of his body and began making him resemble an actual balloon dog or whatever creature he is. The exposed string became a much bigger focus too. I experimented with it wrapping around his body, extending through his tail and protruding from his eye. I then remembered his missing juggling pins and realized they could become part of his mechanic. When you play as Louis, you become faster as you lose lives, so I decided to reverse it for his twisted. You enter a floor and hear a balloon squeak in the distance. Suddenly, this balloon monster begins charging at you with insane speed. All hope is lost, but scattered through the floor are 3 juggling pins, few and far. If you can return them to him, each one slows him down, like it's calming him, like you're helping him finish his act. By the end of the floor, if he gets all his pins, he's no longer a frantic, panicked balloon, but now a slow and calmer creature that just floats about. A bit like how Cole is slow and non-threatening during the day, but in blackouts is one of the fastest twisteds you can encounter. For Louis' sounds, I wanted to lean heavily into the balloon aesthetic. Rubber squeaking, air escaping, someone inflating a balloon. When he spots a player, perhaps a balloon pops. If he's hit with a juggling pin, maybe a clown horn plays, a subtle nod to his trinket. I also had this image in my mind of him peeking around corners before chasing someone, almost like he's checking whether it's safe to come on stage. Time for Yata. The spider-like tails, the extra teeth, the stretched grin, it's already quite creepy and unique on its own. Her silhouette is already very strong and you can recognize her immediately. The function of her tail reminds me a little bit of Zim's backpack legs from Invader Zim. The way those mechanical arms move independently from his body always looked really cool to me, and Yata gives me the same feeling. Her focal point was already obvious to me. Candy, piñatas, gluttony. She literally threatened the Toon because they look like chocolate. Poor Coco. I was really fascinated with the piñata aspect of her. The way they're meant to burst open and spill their contents everywhere. It was a really horrifying direction to take with her, and I wanted to go all the way. What if Yata herself had burst open? I experimented with a few ideas. A torn ear, longer tail, more exaggerated spider limbs, but the thing I kept coming back to was her jaw. I loved the idea of it hanging loose. Something had torn her open too far, and she never properly went back into shape. And then I had another idea. What if those tail appendages erupted from her stomach? Like something inside her burst outward, like a parasite, like those cordyceps. Basically, these limbs have completely taken over her body and are carrying around what's left. To push her silhouette further, I elongated her arms and legs and covered them in ichor. she looks a lot more imposing. At one point, I even explored a version where the mouth and chest cavities were connected, as if her neck had simply snapped apart. The entire upper body became one giant mouth. Next up was her mechanic. Some quick comparisons. Babette notices items being picked up. Gordy wants candy. Roger punishes you for taking fake capsules. So I thought, what if Yata leaves false candy throughout the floor? Most of it is safe, but some of it isn't. If you pay close attention, some pieces have the wrong pattern. Maybe they're missing some stripes or a slightly different color. A small detail that attentive players can notice. Pick up the wrong candy and Twisted Yata immediately locks onto you. She's obsessed with sweets and now she's baiting players with them. For her sounds, I wanted to combine a few ideas. When she spots a player, she makes this confetti sound. I discovered that piñatas are traditionally donkeys, not horses. I always thought they were horses. So I started imagining these distant donkey noises mixed with uncomfortable clicker sound. Maybe an animal clicking its jaw or something like The Grudge, this throaty clicking. Unlike Louis, who feels sad, or some of the other Twisteds who look angry and in despair, Yata looks excited, and that's the scariest part. And finally, we have Blot. Blot was the hardest character in this entire video, because unlike Louis, where I immediately saw some things to change, or Yata, where I wanted to push certain ideas, Blot is already a really strong Twisted design. I love the extendable arms that just emerge from the ground, the way he sits really somberly while these limbs reach out towards players. It's so different from every other common Twisted. So I just sat there for a while asking, how do you redesign something that already works and looks so cool? And then I was like, you know what? I'm not looking to improve him. I'm just looking to take his idea in a different direction. So I started from the basics. He is an ink blot, a puddle, something shapeless, and yet his current design is surprisingly solid. So it got me wondering, what if he never stopped moving? Something a bit like the immortal snail, where the threat isn't its speed, but its inevitability. A Twisted that's hard to distract because he's so slow, and hence he's a threat to everybody and anybody he locks eyes onto. Like that slime enemy from Lethal Company, where I imagine him as this enormous puddle of ichor slowly crawling through the map. He moves very, very slowly. He can slide over objects, move beneath furniture, squeeze through gaps, and gradually occupy more and more space. He grows more for each machine that's completed. Also, I wanted to lean into the idea of him being a malleable ink blot. When you spill ink onto paper, it makes so many different shapes that your mind tries to interpret. It could be faces, hands, creatures, and I thought this would be really interesting for his design. So I experimented with random limbs emerging from his body, something like Full Metal Alchemist and those abominations that form from human transmutation. These limbs extending even resemble other Toons. His head and body are almost melted together. His eyes droop downwards like wet paint. He feels less like a living thing and more like a stain pretending to be one. Now for his mechanic. His hitbox is much larger than most Twisteds as he slithers across the map. Some of the limbs growing from his body could occasionally perform attacks of other Toons. Maybe a goob claw grabs you near. Maybe a tail lashes outwards like Scraps. The range would be a lot less than the Toons he's mimicking, but still a very imposing threat. For his sounds, I want him to feel very quiet. No footsteps, no growling, just wet, sloshy movement. The sound of thick ink dragging itself across the floor. A heavy splash as one of the limbs emerges, and as he slithers through obstacles. Maybe the sound of something dripping nearby. Was that the sound of a machine being completed, or is it this giant ink blob coming towards you? And that's a wrap. This was a really cool challenge because my goal wasn't to make better designs. I just wanted to explore what these will look like as main Twisteds. Louis became this anxious balloon monster who's looking to finish his act. Yata became a horror show of a piñata, and Blot transformed into a gloop puddle across the map. Now, let me know, which redesign was your favorite? Any suggestions or things you'd personally change about it? If you like this video, leave a like below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.